question here is, are you okay?
I'm good.
This guy's freaking out about his briefcase.
You're
supposed to be paying attention to the Jim Nantz.
I heard it, and I loved how upset it made
gosh
Nick.
darn it, these stats aren't going to be cool.
I backed my stats.
What can the Bills prove with the victory?
Well, to me, they can prove a lot if their defense can slow down Mahomes. I'm not expecting them to, because I think the Bills' defense they've been awful against the run, and they've been statistically pretty good against the pass, but when they've played good quarterbacks like Drake May or Lamar, they've gotten carved up. So I don't think they're going to slow them down, but that would be like a thing they can prove. Because if the Bills win, everyone's just going to say, oh, well, of course they win in the regular season. But I think you were a little hard on Jim Nantz earlier.
Why?
I think you were a little hard on him.
Why? Because he compared to if people
You
weren't
really
listening,
think that's
I mean, he said it's like Jack and Arnie when it's closer to Tiger and David Duval. He said it's Magic Bird when it's closer to Jordan Karl Malone. Like again, I'll let you go. But if people weren't watching earlier, that's when Danny says I was too hard. That's what I said. I think it is absurd to say when Peyton and Brady. Peyton won the MVPs and had the flashy numbers. Brady had the it factor and won the games. When one guy has more MVPs, more All-Pros, better numbers, and wins all the games, it is not a comp.
And I understand that the exact corollary of those two legends' careers is not the exact same as this, but to pretend like anyone other than Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in football to Patrick Mahomes, I think is crazy. And so the idea that they should not be in the same breath, or that it is a David Duval situation, Josh Allen is a much better quarterback than David Duval was at golf.
Well, we don't have to do the golf thing. Wilds
I know you're going to go insane, but
What'd he say about David Duval? Honey, they're talking David Duval.
I know it's going to upset
quickly.
But just like the idea that he doesn't deserve to be in the same breath as Patrick Mahomes when Josh Allen's best is basically Patrick Mahomes.
Doesn't he have to beat him sometimes? Doesn't he have to get more accolades than him at some point?
At some point, for sure. But I'm just curious. If Harrison,
they've been in the league a long
if Harrison
time.
Butker would have missed the kick in the 13-second game.
I mean,
but
it
that's
didn't
not
happen.
but it's not a Josh Allen.
But that's the only game. Hold on. Wait.
That's
hold
like
on.
saying if Paxton or Kerr misses the jumper and Jordan doesn't win those finals. It didn't happen.
But here's the problem with that example. They have played 4 times in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Once Josh has played as well as Patrick.
All right.
Every other time, it has not been, he got unlucky, or actually, he outplayed Patrick. In fact, the last 2 times, Josh has had the ball in his hands with Patrick, nothing he can do. And the year before. Neither time did Josh come through. Neither time. The first time they played, he got blown out. The third time he played, he had the ball down 3, chance to keep Patrick off the field, got to the fringe of field goal range to tie it, leaving Patrick time, and he missed. And the next time, got the ball down 3, and was doing the shake, I'm ready for this moment. There was 3:33 left on the clock, and they got 17 yards and got 0 points. One time he played as well as Patrick, and we can say got unlucky, but that was the divisional round. And
he did get unlucky.
And the one year they didn't get to play was because Josh couldn't win a home game against Joe Burrow in the snow. Like, they are not comparable in any way.
The idea, Josh has played Patrick 10 times, right? Regular season and postseason. And Josh has 24 touchdowns against 5 turnovers.
Okay.
That's incredible. The idea that the second best loses to the best means that is a reason to tear down the second best.
No, he's just saying they're not, from a historical standpoint, they're not comparable. Mahomes is in the discussion for the GOAT.
Sure.
Josh
I
is what?
The second best player of his era.
That's arguable.
Because
I think you can easily argue Lamar. Lamar's got more MVPs. His regular season numbers are way better than Josh. I would say Lamar's a better runner. I guess that's arguable, but obviously they're both better. They can run and he's not as good as these guys, but Jalen has been more of a rival for Mahomes than Josh has.
Nobody thinks that Jalen Hurts is a better player than Josh Allen.
But if they were to meet again in the Super Bowl and Jalen beats Mahomes again, that becomes a rivalry. Even though we know Jalen's not as good as Mahomes or as Josh Allen or Lamar, he still would be winning Super Bowls against Mahomes.
Since 2020, we can show it. Patrick is 1 in every category that we care about, and Josh was 2 until the guy who's actually now second in passing yards is my other guy, Justin Herbert. Like he is clearly the second best.
But that's a different.
Why has he only got 1 MVP while other guys have 2?
Again, I agree. I do think Josh is better than Lamar. I don't think it's undisputable.
I'm just saying, right, it's
indisputable.
arguable.
I think it's being proven that it's arguable. We're arguing about it, and there's legitimate cases on both sides of it. But and again, with the risk of Wilds getting upset, but I hope not.
About Tom Brady or Jalen Hurts?
No, neither.
Who's getting
I'm actually going to talk about it. It's not David Duvall, but it is. I think a better. Maybe I shouldn't have said Duvall. But if you showed basketball accolades of the '90s, and it's Jordan's first in everything, and Akeem is second in everything. Or golf of the 2000s, and Tiger's first in everything, and Phil Mickelson second in everything. It doesn't mean they're rivals. And so, there are certain times in sports where one guy ascends past all of his contemporaries. And I understand for Nance and Romo, it is honestly probably a little frustrating that it is the same story every year. And for everyone in the media, I know it's frustrating because it is a race, like a giveaway at Toys R Us to the front of the line every September to be like, nope, Josh is better. I'm first to market. Josh is better. And
I would never say that. I just want everyone to agree that he's the second best.
Right, well, but you can agree he's the second.
I'm not going to get that.
But you can say he's the second best while also acknowledging Brady needed Manning and Peyton needed Tom.
Right.
It may or may not be true, but the idea that Patrick needs Josh is insane. If we were to list, and this is the biggest knock on Josh, and that I think is hard to account for even while saying he's the second best quarterback in the league. If we were to say, hey, what are the 5 greatest moments of Patrick Mahomes' career? They're very disparate. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of different teams. It's a bunch of different settings.
I agree.
If we say, what are the greatest moments of Josh Allen's career? It is 1 playoff loss, a bunch of regular season highlights, usually with his legs, and some blowouts in the wild card round of the playoffs. That's it. And I don't, the old Cowherd thing when he said, close your eyes and what do you see, when he was taking a shot at Tatum, when he was like, which was an all-time kind of clip. When you close your eyes and think of Patrick Mahomes, you think of these unbelievable postseason moments. When you close your eyes and think of Josh Allen, what do you see? It's not playoff success. It's not that.
Well, I just think it's a little harsh to say that most of his moments come with his legs when he has the second most passing touchdowns of the last 6 years.
But okay, that's fine. But I'm asking you, what do you see when you think of the crazy Josh Allen moment? I see him hurdling guys, or I see him sad losing to Patrick.
Yeah, it's just more unique, probably. You just don't have a lot of guys hurdling people. Yeah. So there you go. That's what the Bills can prove on Sunday.
Got a little derailed. Got a little derailed. My bad.
Moving on. Well, it's Tuesday. It's Wednesday, because otherwise it would have been Top 10 Tuesday.
Correct.
It's Wednesday. So we're previewing Cowboys Cardinals. Is Kyler about to get his season back on track?
I think so.
We're going to find out the answer in this week's edition of Packed Stats.
And I brought my briefcase.
Thank goodness.
I
was
never
worried
leave
that
home
it was missing.
without my stats. I didn't want to have to walk off camera. Your quarterback isn't good. He's just playing the Cowboys. The numbers here are 120.4 and 81.7. Go on this little journey with me. Those are the passer ratings for Russ, Caleb, Fields, Bryce Young, and Bo Nix this year against Dallas versus their passer rating against everyone else. We left Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, and Jaden Daniels out because
they're actually good.
They're actually good, and they're good against everyone. And if you're like, well, what about that might be an outlier performance? No, we can go one by one here. It is a fairly remarkable jump that Dallas has provided for all of these quarterbacks. I know. Poor Russell Wilson can't even play anymore. But so expect Kyler Murray to have a big game, and I will fully admit that the second name on that list, Caleb Williams, it pains me to include him in this graphic.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
No, go.
I mean, and this is also, in my opinion, as all of these Cowboys stats have been, a Micah Parsons stat, because the defense is not demonstrably different than it's personnel-wise than it's been the last few years, except for the fact they added Kenny Clark, who's a fine player, and they lost Micah Parsons. It also is, I think it tempers a little of the Bo Nix enthusiasm. Because now Bo, what he has going for him is the quarter before he played the Cowboys was the best quarter he's ever played in the pros, where they scored 33 points. He was unbelievable. But even with that quarter factored into the right-hand column that you had, his pass rating's like 81 or I forget what it said, 81 or 87.
87, yeah.
87 for the year. And then against the Cowboys played basically a perfect game.
Yeah, and I don't think the Cowboys would be one of the top-tier contenders in the NFC if they had kept Micah. They'd be what they were a few years ago. They win 12 games, 12-5.
That'd be great.
No, yeah, but that's what I think they would be, and be disappointed in the playoffs. But you're right, it's a great stat, and if your guy cooks the Cowboys, don't get overly excited.
Real before we go to the next one, can I ask you a quick question on that, Brew?
Yeah.
But given how, and I was wrong on this, how good Pickens has been, do you not think that might have been enough to move Pickens? I think Pickens been better than I expected.
Yep.
Schottenheimer, I think, has been better than anybody expected.
The run game.
Is that in the run game's been better? Is that not are you open to the possibility that if the defense was what it had been in years past, this Cowboys team maybe could have been different than years past? Because I am.
I think we have to see Dak. Not that he hasn't had any
spots.
good playoff moments, but yeah, he's had great regular seasons and then kind of fizzled in the playoffs.
All right. These stats are cool, man.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm carrying around this cool
I'm a
briefcase.
believer.
Thank you. Transforming one believer at a time.
No, stop with the extra slogans.
All right, Brew, this one's for you. The Ravens can catch the Steelers before they play the Steelers.
Wow.
The next 5 opponents, those are their records of their upcoming opponents.
Wow.
They do
This is extra cool.
This is
great
why people believe the Ravens are going to win the AFC North, and it's the most obvious point to make. They're 2 back of the Steelers in the loss column without having played the Steelers. So the Ravens' next 5, their combined opponents are 11-28. The Steelers' next 5, their combined record is 24-14. And then if you just, well, let's see the teams, because I feel like we've all memorized the Ravens' schedule by now, so can they do it? But before they play Pittsburgh, Miami, Minnesota, Cleveland, the Jets, and the Bengals, look at the Steelers, what they have to go through. Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Bears, and Bills. It's very on the board that they are tied for first in the AFC North, or it's flipped by the time they even play each other in Week 14.
No, I would agree. And look, the divisional games are always tough, particularly in the AFC North. And so they may not sweep the Steelers. The Ravens.
Sure.
But to your point, if they're ahead of them, they may not need to sweep them. So no, I fully expect that. Before they play, the Ravens will be in first.
I don't know if we can put up the Steelers' schedule by itself or not. The Steelers, really are. We'll see how if the Ravens are back, if it truly was the toy toss that transformed the tacklers, and the defense is going to be I don't even think the defense has to be good. If the defense is going to be fine and Lamar's healthy, the Steelers are going to look at the missed opportunities of these first 7 weeks, and it's going to be hard to deal with. The fact that they had an awesome Aaron Rodgers performance and found a way to lose to the Cincinnati Bengals. The fact that they had a 2-score lead at halftime against the Packers and then did nothing in the second half. Those 2 games, like the Seattle loss, is nothing to be embarrassed about. I think Seattle's really good, and they probably got a little lucky in that Patriots win. But they were 4-2, knowing they had that Bengals game, which is really the one I'm focused on, before the schedule really got hard. And Rodgers played out of his mind. And the fact that was a loss, because it would just feel so different if they were sitting here at 5-2 with a 3-game cushion, even with that difference in schedule.
Well, I mean, everything's broke for Pittsburgh. Rodgers has been healthy. Rodgers has been better than most people expected. Lamar got hurt. And Burrow got hurt.
Yeah.
And they still might not even be in first place by the time they play these guys.
I have terrible news. I might start rooting aggressively against the Ravens.
Why?
Oh.
Because the Patriots are going to make the playoffs, and I don't want to see Lamar in the playoffs. Despite the fact that he struggled, I don't want to see Lamar. I'd much rather see a resurgent Jake Browning or Flacco or.
Can I give you a
shot at the Steelers?
very realistic scenario? If the Patriots, let's just say you're a little too pessimistic on the Bills, and that the Bills don't get swept by the Patriots, the Bills split, which I think you think's, and that the Bills go 12-5.
Yeah.
And the Patriots also go. You sign up for 12-5 right now.
Sign up for
right. 12-5. But the Bills win the division because of tiebreakers.
Oh, I got to go to Baltimore?
That the 12-5 Patriots are at the 9-8 Ravens, because whoever wins the AFC North is going to be the 4 seed.
Yeah.
And I would imagine right now the 5 seed is either going to be the second place team in the AFC West or the second place team in the AFC East. But Drake May's first ever playoff game being on the road in Baltimore
not great.
Would not be what you want.
It'd be fine.
And again, I know you super believe in the Colts, but yeah, I mean, because if you could pick, I'm just asking you. Patriots, they're like, hey, weird playoffs this year. You can pick. You can go to the 8-9 Baltimore Ravens, or you can go to the 14-3 Colts.
I'm scared of the Colts.
More than the Ravens?
We'll see.
Okay.
8-9.
Your fears are warranted.
Oh, making stats cool.
Last one. The original cool stat sport, baseball.
Oh.
Vlad Jr., everyone's talking about Ohtani, deservedly so. Vlad Jr., all-time postseason, hanging out with Hall of Famers. Highest OPS in a postseason, minimum 15 games played. Bonds, A-Rod, Vlad, and Pujols. Wow. Simple stat, just
full postseason.
For a full postseason, you got to play at least 15 games.
So it eliminates all the old timers because they couldn't have played 15.
Right, and it's not just, I had one great series, but my team happened to lose. So you got to advance multiple rounds, play at least 15 games. But that is ridiculous company. He could legitimately have the second best OPS postseason. He easily could pass A-Rod.
Well, and if he does, it would be the best ever of a champion because Bonds didn't win that year.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Which would put it in the all-time legendary playoff run.
It doesn't feel like I'm watching an all-time playoff.
Really?
It does to me.
All-time? You think it feels like an all-time?
He was phenomenal.
It felt like that against
and really the playoffs.
I was going to say it felt like that in the Yankees series. In the Yankees series, it felt like Vlad was terrifying. The ALCS, he was unbelievable.
If you have an OPS of 1,300, it has to feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's almost impossible to just acquire those numbers and not hit the ball over the wall.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Well, it doesn't.
Okay.
All time. I just
all right.
I'm just telling you. It doesn't.
All right.
That's stats are cool. I don't know what to tell you. Stop telling me they're not.
Willie, surprised? We were wrong last night. You surprised the series is tied at 2?
Yeah, I am. I thought this was going to be a game where the Dodgers showed up and they simply didn't. You could see Ohtani running on fumes. He didn't have a great day on the mound and struggled at the plate. But and I consider him a demigod. But my real question is, where's the rest of the lineup, man? Where's Betts? Where's Andy Page is not giving him anything. So now they're going to pitch around Ohtani simply because the rest of the lineup is asleep. And I'm worried about him. But I'm still going with the Dodgers, man.
Coach?
Yeah, I am shocked. I'm shocked that this isn't 3-1 Toronto. That's what I'm shocked by. They should have won the night before and had plenty of opportunities to do that. And throughout this series, everybody's talking about how this was going to essentially be a walkover, and then they're going to win. It's going to be win 5, win 4, the whole thing. But the consistent thing with Toronto is they're resilient, and we're seeing it night in and night out. And even when they get the wins, LA's got to do everything they can to squeak it out.
So I'm going to call my shot on this is a very annoying opinion. Like, you guys are not going to there's no baseball playoff result that is surprising. Because it's the ultimate sport of sample size, right? You play 162 games. The best teams make the playoffs. And then it's completely random who wins. So, it's completely random. Like, if you started this series over tomorrow and it was 0-0, the Dodgers could sweep in 4, the Blue Jays could sweep in 4. Like, it's just, you take a huge sample size sport and then you're like, all right, best of 7. And that's why playoff baseball is awesome. That's why the intensity is so crazy. So, am I surprised? No, anything can happen in playoff baseball. All right, Coach, got some picks? Ready to pick this game? I got a shocker. You want to shock us?
Toronto?
Maybe? Oh,
maybe
wow.
Toronto?
Okay. Willie, let me guess.
Yeah, I'm going with the Dodgers, man. I feel like they're going to have some pride and rally.
Danny? Any surprises?
I'm going to stay with the Dodgers.
Oh, of course.
I'll stay with the team I picked before the series. But again, flip a coin. Who knows? It's playoff baseball. Anyone can win. All right, let's go and talk some football here. Sunday night, the Steelers fell to the Packers after allowing 28 points in the second half while scoring only 9 themselves. A lot of frustration from that Steelers team on display. Mike Tomlin was asked about the adversity the Steelers faced in the game and looking ahead to the best offense in football so far this year. They've got the Colts on Sunday. So the question, gentlemen, is if the Steelers can get back on track against the Colts. And I just think this is it's a terrible time for the Colts to pop up on your schedule. Maybe earlier in the season, maybe if the Steelers defense figures it out. But the Steelers defense at this point, we're basically halfway through the year, they're the 27th ranked defense in football. And they're playing the #1 offense in football. Maybe the Steelers will be a little better. That's obviously on the board. But I don't think they go from what we've seen from them for a couple of months to playing the best offense in the league and all of a sudden shutting them down. So I don't think this is a get-right spot for your Steelers.
Yeah, I think I was blinded by loyalty. I knew the Steelers' defense has been playing broken and they look broken. I just didn't know they were that bad. I have a graphic to throw up right here. This is, listen, you talk about they've given up 30 points plus 4 times in 7 games. And I'm looking at the quarterbacks who they did, Fields, Darnold, Flacco, Love. This isn't Goff, Allen, Stafford. These are guys who are B-level quarterbacks, and this defense has pretty much underperformed the whole way through. And so now I'm saying to myself, if the Steelers' defense is broken, that means Aaron has to do more. This offense needs to do more. You know they're going to bracket DK. So who's the number 2 receiver? It has to be Jonnu Smith. He has to be the guy that they have to lean on when DK is erased from the field. And if you're Aaron Rodgers, man, he was right. He said it at the end of the presser. We have to score. It's no longer leaning on Chris Boswell to get us out the building with W's. When we get in the red zone, we have to produce, and hopefully they can do it. But they have to be able to turn this into a backyard brawl. So it's playing clean football, scoring touchdowns, and a little ball control, keeping Danny Dimes in that offense on the sideline. So it's a lot to ask for, but this is where they're at right now.
Yeah, I don't think it should fall on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it should fall on a 40-plus-year-old quarterback who's the first year with the team when you've got the highest-paid defense in the league. And you've got one of the most mature defensive league. And if you pull up some of the clips from last game, the issue was sometimes effort.
Wow.
And sometimes really poor tackling. And right now, the Steelers are 3rd in the NFL in missed tackles. Mm-hmm. And you never are saying that statistic in relationship to the Steelers. And tackling is something that you can work on and you can try to get better at. But some guys are a lot better at it than other guys are, and you can only improve so much, and you can only improve so much during the season because it's not like you can do live tackling drills at practice. So and then the effort part, Mike Tomlin's going to get that right, and I do think the pride of the guys that are in the room will get that straightened out. But we shouldn't be talking about that at this point in the league with an organization like that, with a history like that. And with a level of expectation that they've earned by virtue of how much they've been paid.
So I love that you brought up the history and the tradition, and Tomlin's been there forever. Normally, I don't find it terribly relevant to be let's compare the 2025 Steelers to the 2018 Steelers. No one is on this team that was on that team. But when you do have the history and the tradition of the Steelers, and Tomlin has been there forever, I thought my guess is this is going to hit you as very jarring. The Steelers right now, we could put up the graphic to show the exact number. They are allowing 386 yards per game.
Yikes!
That would be the worst yards per game allowed in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. 93 years of playing football. This would be, with the highest paid defense in the NFL, with Mike Tomlin, it would be the worst defense in the history of the Steelers franchise. And those plays that you showed, bad effort, bad tackling, I buy in that's a huge piece of it. But man, it's tough to explain how that coach with that personnel can be the worst defense in the history of that franchise.
Well, I think sometimes as ball players, we lean on our resume, meaning we have guys who are all pros, guys who are decade guys who stand out single-handedly because of their impressive resumes. And so what I mean by that is that other guys around them tend to lack detail and wait for the magic to happen, right? If DP's are all pro, I'll make sure he's going to save the game.
And he is.
They've been used to TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, certain guys on our defense to kind of mask their deficiencies. And now those guys have gotten older. There's a different level of expectation. And his defense, some of these guys are fairly new to the puzzle. So now you're talking about chemistry and communication, all that has to go into fruition for these guys to be successful, and I think they're going through that. But I think Coach is 100% right. Effort and attitude, you shouldn't have to coach. That's something you show up every day to work and got to be able to display. So the fact that we aren't seeing that, and they are a poor tackling team, this is why you do have these leaders in the locker room say, hey, man, there's some things we can control, there's some things we can't control. Showing up and being the Pittsburgh Steelers we can control, and they need to do a better job at that.
And one of the problems of having an older team is as you get to this point in the season, there is wear and tear, there is
100%.
fatigue that hits totally different than when you've got a younger group, and typically that group can rally when you get close to the playoffs because they see the end in sight.
So they pick it up.
Yeah, it's this middle of the season part, and where you really are going to have to pull yourself out of it deliberately.
And you're right, Coach. And I know you got to go DP, but I'm saying the issue right now, when you have the Colts and you have the Chargers ahead, we all know the back five of this schedule is brutal for the Steelers. So you can't afford the losses they've already taken, and you got to start picking up momentum. Because look at that. You talking about Baltimore week 18, talking about the Browns at 7. The Browns are always going to fight them scrap. But the Lions, Dolphins, talking about the Bills and Ravens, like that back five, that back gauntlet gets nasty for the Steelers. So this is where if you're Mike Tomlin and this team, like, hey, man, we're out of lives right now. We got to go. Like, there's no coming to save us. We're all we got. So we got to pick it up.
Third most missed tackles in football with Jonathan Taylor and the Colts offensive line coming to Pittsburgh. Probably a bad resume. I think that the league definitely should fear the Lions. If they had serious changes on the interior of their offensive line, offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, and they're still 5-2. And they have still shown a very high capability on both sides of the ball. Like, they just gave Aiden Hutchinson $180 million.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. He's been amazing. Like, we talk about how there's questions with every team in the league. The Lions, to me, are on the short list of teams with the fewest questions, Coach.
Yeah, and the point you made initially is with the new coordinator on offense and new coordinator on defense, how is that going to gel? How quickly can they get on the same page and be able to move forward? And there have been some hiccups, but now we're at midseason, and they had the benefit of coming off the bye or having the bye, where they can go evaluate things we did well, things we did poorly. But you look at some of the other key stats outside of the traditional ones: 5th in giveaway takeaway, 5th defensively in sacks, 10th offensively in giving up and allowing sacks, 5th in time of possession, 5th least penalized team, 4th in red zone offense, 1st in red zone defense. So there's a lot of things outside of total points given up or total yards that they're doing really well, which makes them extremely dangerous.
Yeah, what I love about the Detroit Lions, man, this was a team that used to ask for respect. Now they send invoices, right? Now they're like, listen, we coming to beat you up. And outside of the Chiefs, man, I feel like they've gotten consistently better and hungrier. You talk about the arsenal in which they have with Gibbs and Montgomery and Laporta and Tesla. All these guys are focused on one goal: getting to the Super Bowl, right? They don't have the A.J. Brown problems like the Philadelphia Eagles have.
No.
All these guys want to do is win. And so if you're Dan Campbell, man, when you got both sides of the ball humming, you have to feel good that you can step into any stadium, play your brand of football, and walk out the building with the W. I think they also understand that the window's closing. They have to be able to attack now because I think the league is getting better, more teams are starting to get better, and they're getting older, believe it or not. So outside of week 1, there was a lot of questions about the interior of their line. Those questions are erased now. Those 2 young guards for the Lions, they're road graders. So now with the run game, Jared Goff in the MVP conversation, Aiden Hutchinson being the lead dog, man, they're scary.
Yeah, I think that they've got a long window in front of them, but never as long as it seems. But yeah, Goff's been great. They can run the ball, and it's a week 1 loss to Green Bay. Weird things happen in week 1.
Look how we responded after week 1. We were like, uh-oh.
Right. And then that Chiefs game. So they don't have a bad loss on their resume at this point, and I do think their best football is clearly in front of them.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.